Welcome back. Those were highlights from the UEFA Champions League. Very disappointing night if you're a Barcelona fan like myself. At some point, about 15 minutes to the end of the game, I just wanted the game to end quick. I wish the referee could blow the whistle at the 75th minute to signal end of proceedings. It was a devastating night, an embarrassing night, a heartbreaking night as a Barcelona fan. But, I mean, such is football. We've got to endure it. We'll bounce back proper. But Ronald Araujo, I don't know. But yesterday, I had to write on social media, on Facebook, Michael Kofi Oduro on Facebook, you can check me out. I had to write, look, that guy must be investigated. I don't know why he's either picking up the red cards or he's silly mistakes for Barcelona to concede in the big games. I'm sure you remember the UEFA Champions League, that awful night against Paris Saint-Germain, where he took considered an early red card, and that was it for a very bright night for Barcelona to advance in the UEFA Champions League. We remember the 4-1 drubbing at the hands of Real Madrid, another red card for him last season when he was brought on from the bench in the semi-final tie against Inter Milan. Silly mistakes. Barcelona conceded very needless goals through his errors. And last night, how do you go in with such a tackle when you're already on a yellow card? A yellow card for complaints. That is the most painful part. But we've got solid team here as panelists this morning who will delve deeper into the UEFA Champions League matches. How Manchester City also lost 2-0 to least fancied Leverkusen side. But Leverkusen seem to be on their resurgence. They are picking up the pieces, grinding results in the Bundesliga, and they have replicated that in the UEFA Champions League. But this morning, our topic for editorial, we'll go into something before. It says, the editorial topic, President Mahama separates youth from the sports ministry, arts recreation, sparking debate over the ministry's reduced 2025 budget, smart move or misplaced priority. I like the topic, and I like the write-up by Joel. But yesterday, you know, as for the AstroTurf agenda and project, is our baby. So we get excited anytime we see that there are short curtains for new facilities to be built, when they are commissioning, signaling the completion of projects. And yesterday, there was another beautiful project delivered by Wembley Sports Construction Company Limited, led by Robert Tete Coleman. These are pictures from Ekropon PCE, the Presbyterian Training College at Ekropon. And as a staunch Presbyterian myself, it is even more refreshing that this facility is on a Presbyterian land at Ekropon, the Presbyterian Training Center at Ekropon. This is where this facility is, facilitated by the Member of Parliament for the area, the Honorable Sami Ewuku, Supremo, they call him. So we're excited to share with you some pictures. Beautiful work by Wembley Sports Construction Company Limited. These are pictures from the commissioning which took place yesterday. Ose Adeyo, yes, the chief of Ekropon there in the picture. Yes, Ose Adeyo with Robert Tete Coleman, the contractor who oversaw the construction of this beautiful edifice. It comes with a full-sized pitch, and I'm sure that there are a number of clubs in Zone 3 that are struggling to find home ground. Oko United, Nana Kwame Dankwa, maybe you can consider this pitch. You have moved all the way from the Oko is an Eastern Region club, but you've moved all the way from Eastern Region to Dansoman, where you are even having issues. You could consider this facility constructed by Wembley Sports Construction Company Limited through the efforts of the Honorable Sami Ewuku, and take your home grounds to the people of the Eastern Region so that you leave the Accra pitches for us. We saw some students drawn from the schools in Ekropon and its environs. Very happy, very excited. They know that finding the right place for their inter-schools and colleges sports will no longer be a challenge with this beautiful edifice, multi-purpose complex there you have. And so we'll commend the people in the area, those that ensure that indeed the dream of providing this facility, and you look at it, I mean, super fantastic. This is the VIP area, very nice seating in the VIP area. The bench for the substitute players, and then the technical men, then the pitch. Full-size pitch. This one, there are no issues. It is not short of the standards required for Division 1 and Premier League football. So, again, 11 wonders you can also consider, because it looks like Accra has not been good for you. Beautiful washrooms there. So, kudos to all the people involved in ensuring that this dream is a reality. At least the people of Ekropon have a standard mini stadium, which can aid in sports development, especially at the grassroots level. So now we'll move to our substantive topic for today. Now, on the 7th of January 2025, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was sworn in office. He had pledged that he would not do more than 60 ministers, and so we expected some ministries to be merged. We expected some of them to be scrapped. And for those of us in sports, we knew that sports is an important part of Ghana's economy, or as a country. Sports forms a very important part of us. And so we knew that we were going to have sports. But as to whether there was going to be a measure, as to whether there were going to be separations, we didn't know. But soon after the president was sworn in, when he started naming the various ministries and the ministers that were going to man these ministries, then he said that he was going to separate youth from sports, because he felt that these were two very big institutions, two areas that required utmost attention. So we thought, okay, yes, he said that. So then we're going to have the sports ministry. Then maybe we're going to have the youth ministry, or whatever it was going to be called. But when he named the Honorable Kofi Adams as sports minister, then we saw that he's named him as Minister for Sports and Recreation. And up to now, there are a lot of people that are still struggling to put meaning to the recreation bit of it. And I remember when the budget was read somewhere last year, not the budget for the 2026 fiscal year, but the 2025. There are people that said, oh yes, the president, yes, he now doesn't see sports as a serious business. The reason he's added recreation. So the recreation there meant that agro, we are coming to play, non-competitive, nothing serious. And that explains why the ministry's budget was reduced, why the ministry had the least budget as compared to any other government institution or ministry. Because other institutions, which are not ministries, like the Office of the Special Prosecutor, like the NCC, National Commission on Civic Education, they all had bigger budgets than the sports. If you multiply the sports ministry's budget by 2, if you double the sports ministry's budget, that is where you are going to make up or equal to the NCC's budget for 2025. If you multiply the sports ministry's budget by 2, it was still not up to what was given to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So people interpreted that as the president not attaching seriousness to sports, especially when he had taken the youth ministry. Because we know that the youth ministry, the youth bit, the youth component of the ministry had a good budget. It is the reason Honorable Isaac Isiama, he said, yeah, while he was minister, somewhere 2017, 2018, he said that the youth fund has money sitting there. And so he was going to use part of that money to construct youth resource centers, which were also going to serve as venues for sporting activities. Brilliant initiative, good initiative. He started it. Unfortunately, in the second term of the MPP, he was not retained as minister. And we only have the Koforidua one as the fully functional youth resource center. The other ones, we don't know. So when the youth ministry was taken, the youth bit of the ministry was taken away and had its own ministry, many thought that. But we have conducted some research into recreation. We have tried to engage the people in charge. Now, the person who has been entrusted with the recreation bit of the ministry is the Honorable Betty Crosby Mensah, a former member of parliament. She heads the National Recreation Board. Already they have had some activities. I saw pictures and videos from the activity during the Homo Festival in Gamashi. I also saw some of their activities during the Hogbechocho Festival in the Volta region. She's leading that charge. And in our dealings, in trying to inquire more, because part of our responsibility and editorials is not just only to come here, rant, but we've also have a responsibility of educating the public that this recreation bit that was attached to the sports ministry, what is it about? What do we seek? What do we want to do with it? What do we seek to achieve with the recreation bit of the ministry? So we have had some dossier from the from the sports ministry, what they intend doing with the recreation bit. We have also done our own research, what WHO has been saying about physical activity, the importance of it, how as a nation we stand to benefit, and all of that. So we will bring you all of this, what the ministry has done so far, what they intend to do with the recreation bit. We'll bring you the analysis of what we've lost, separating the youth ministry, the youth from sports. Then we can answer the question whether it is a smart move or it is a misplaced priority. So this, okay, let me skip this one. This is a WHO report on the active countries. But okay, so this is another WHO report. It says nearly 1.8 billion adults at risk of diseases from not doing enough physical activity. So if you take the world's population, about 1.8 billion of the world's population are contracting diseases just because we do not engage in any form of physical or recreational activity. We will not walk, we will not run, we will not dance, we will not play games, and for that matter. So it goes ahead to say that new data, and this was a research published by the WHO on 26th of June 2024. It says new data show that nearly 1/3, that is 31% of adults, and that is big, 1/3 of adults worldwide, approximately 1.8 billion people, did not meet the recommended levels of physical activity in 2022. The findings point to a worrying trend of physical inactivity among adults, which has increased by about 5 percentage points between 2010 and 2022. So 31% of the world's adult population do not meet the expected levels of physical activity or recreational activity, according to the WHO. And per their findings, it put these people, I don't know whether I belong to that category, whether Kobe Jones, Coach Eben, and the rest, my very good friend from Suhum Sektek, Alfred Hansen, I don't know whether they belong to this 1.8 billion. If we belong to this 1.8 billion, then we must be in a rush to engage in physical activities. But sometimes I play football, just that it is once a while. Okay, so this one says, Global Status Report on Physical Activity 2022. Another report from WHO. It says WHO's Global Action Plan on Physical Activity 2018 to 2030 provided recommendations to help countries increase levels of physical activity within their populations by developing and implementing dedicated, comprehensive national policies to ensure safer roads for cycling and walking, accessible opportunities for active recreation where people live, work, and play, and on physical activity. So the WHO, upon realizing that about 1.8 billion people do not meet the required levels of physical activity, they were alarmed. And now they are pushing efforts to have government, to have countries adopt policies that will push the people, the citizenry, into engaging in physical activity. So even by this, you could tell that the president's move to add recreation to sports is in line with the efforts of the WHO Action Plan on Physical Activity 2018 to 2030. Then this one, another, still on the Global Status Report on Physical Activity by the WHO, it says, regular physical activity promotes both mental and physical health in people of all ages. Yet, today, more than 80% of adolescents and 27% of adults do not meet WHO's recommended levels. Okay, we've spoken about this already. And so, let's get into the plan by the National Recreation Board and see whether it aligns with the Global Action Plan of WHO. Then after, we'll go back and try and answer our questions. So, what is the vision? Why do we put together, why do we bring recreation as part? This one is what? NARWEP. Okay, it says aligned with national vision. The NARWEP reflects President John Dramani Mahamad's vision of placing recreation at the center of national development. It complements the government's focus on preventive health, education, reform, and social cohesion. So we'll see, this is the vision, and I'm sure the plan should align with the vision. So when we go through the plan, then we can be able to tell that indeed we have a plan that will ensure that the vision is not only on paper, but rather it is something that could be achieved. And how are we going to do it? Now, the health impact, and it has been segmented. There's the health impact, there's the education impact, there's the community impact. And then there's rehabilitation. So on rehabilitation, okay, let's go back and look at the brief on each one of them. The health impact, just 30 minutes of daily activity cuts NDC risk by 40%. This is also, if you, we didn't have time to go very deep into the WHO report, but the WHO report suggests that if you engage in 30 minutes of physical activity, exercise, whether you are playing game, whether you are running, you are riding a bicycle, or you are jogging, you are walking for 30 minutes, you reduce the risk of contracting non-communicable disease by 40%. Education impact. Children in school sports are 50% more likely to excel academically and avoid risky behaviors. And this also is a UNICEF report in 2021. Then it says the community impact. Recreation reduces crime, strengthens social bonds, and builds unity. We are very well aware of this, that once people are engaged in recreational or sporting activities, the probability of engaging in social vices is on the low. Sport is something that brings all of us together, so the probability of building that cohesion and camaraderie is also very high. Then there's rehabilitation. Now, rehabilitation within the NARWEP focuses on creating opportunities for individuals with disabilities, accident survivors, injured athletes, older adults, and persons integrating into society after experiencing vulnerability. Now, what are the benefits? Restores dignity and ensures no one is left behind. Provides therapeutic benefits for physical and emotional recovery. Promotes social inclusion and equality. Now, school recreation. Schools are the foundation of an active nation, and the project will strengthen physical education. PE, today PE in our schools, there are schools, if you can do the monitoring, there are schools that will go from Monday to Friday without any physical activity. But as part of the project, the National Recreation Board intends to enforce physical education. It is already part of our curriculum, except that in the past it has not been implemented. And again, that is where the Honorable Education Minister comes in. He's a lover of sports, and so I know that with the right partnership and cohesion between the two ministries, this shouldn't be difficult to achieve at all. So, Honorable Betty Crosby, Mensa, you have to liaise with the Education Ministry. Fortunately for you, you have a sports person as the minister there, so it is not difficult ensuring that these things are done. And then what are the benefits we get from recreation in our schools? Enhances academic performance and discipline, provides a pathway for talent discovery and development, equips young people with teamwork, leadership, and life skills. And look, especially provides the pathway for, there are people who can play football, people who can run, people who can skip, people who can, who can engage in all sorts of sporting disciplines. But sometimes they don't like to come forward. I remember when I went to Sumsek Tech, first year, time for physical education. Mr. Nyako, Kwakunya, as we often called him, so the first time we went for PE, he just threw all of us. He said we should come with our football boot. If you don't have a boot, just come with your canvas or anything that you can play with. So first he said we should run. Then we ran. He was observing. Then he threw us. He says, divide yourselves into 3 teams. We did. Then the first 2 teams took to the pitch. When we were playing, he said, you come out. You come out. I remember he asked myself to come out. I remember Jonas, Damois, Isaac Nyako. We all came out. He had seen that we were good talents when it comes to football. And that is how we entered the school team. If we had continued, I was not interested in playing to the top, but there were those that were interested. If we had continued, maybe that would have been the way to discovery. So ensuring that physical education and recreation is part of our school system will aid in talent discovery, and then we are able to harness those talents. Now, active recreation. Active recreation provides opportunities for citizens of all ages to engage in regular physical activity. So the physical activities is not a reserve for the young people. Sometimes there are those who feel that, this one where Emranti Ejuma is something for the young people. So the young people that must run, they are the ones that must go for jogging. No, it will ensure that people of all categories, the low class, the middle class, the high class, the aged, the young ones, sometimes too, the young ones feel that we are already active. So as for Saturday morning walk, jogging is something for the old after 50. They are the ones that need it. But this will ensure that at all levels, there is that national orientation that right from the base, right from, as young as the person can walk, if the person can run, right from the very tender age up until the aged, we can all engage in some form of physical activity. Then the benefit encourages mass participation and inclusivity, improves cardiovascular health and mental well-being, strengthens community spirit, and reduces social isolation. And then wellness. Wellness initiatives ensure that recreation goes beyond fitness to address overall health. Activities include health screenings for blood pressure, sugar levels, body mass index, as well as nutrition education, hydration, campaigns, and mental health awareness. So the National Recreation Board is not going to limit itself to only physical activities, but they are also telling us that in the discharge of their responsibilities, they are going to pay attention to some of the basic health needs, like health screening. Today, some churches are doing it, some social organizations are doing it, but we are going to make it a national culture. Mental health, something that in Africa and Ghana, people don't care. It is when you are going through mental health challenges, that is when people are stressing you. When people are going through mental health, when people are disappointed by their girlfriends, their boyfriends, people are experiencing challenges in their relationship, workplaces, our bosses are worrying us. And then it affects our mental. That is where people are teasing you. That is where you don't get the support. But we are going to make it a culture to educate people on the need to take mental health seriously. Benefit: early detection of lifestyle-related diseases, promotion of healthier lifestyle and nutrition choices, reduction in the national health bill through preventive health. And again, if you read the WHO report in details, it talks about how the physically active countries are the ones that are spending less on health, and that if we are physically active, we are more likely to reduce our health bill significantly. Now, it says why the NARWEP is the answer. The National Recreation and Wellness Program, that's the full meaning of the NARWEP, says embedding recreation and wellness into community life. So we're going to make it a part of us. It's going to be a lifestyle. It's not going to be a matter of choice, but a lifestyle that an everyday thing. Now, strengthening school sports as the foundation of an active generation. As for this, it is our baby. We've spoken about the need to strengthen, to promote, to grow school sports. Even yesterday, we spent time here talking about school sports. Now, reducing the national health care burden through preventive health. I've just spoken about that, and so no need to elaborate. Promoting social cohesion and national pride through inclusive participation. Creating opportunities for talent discovery, skills training, and jobs. Now, the opportunity recreation brings. Prevention is cheaper than cure. Now, according to the WHO report in 2019, it says every $1 invested in recreation saves 3 in health cost. This is not in how do they say that? This is not something that we're just saying, but research by the World Health Organization 2019. Now, recreational programs contribute to safer communities by reducing crime, substance abuse, and social vices. I've also mentioned this earlier. Recreation strengthens unity and inclusion, offering safe spaces for women, youth, persons with disability, and the elderly. Now, rationale for recreation and wellness. The cost of inactivity, the bigger picture. Now, Ghana is losing billions of cedis each year to the treatment of lifestyle-related diseases, non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease now accounts for 45% of deaths in Ghana. WHO 2022. The research is WHO, not any research we cannot trust. So what this is saying is that Ghana, our health, how do you call it? The deaths in Ghana, about 45% is attributed to diseases that can be prevented through physical activity, according to WHO report as recent as 2022. Now, the bigger picture, the NARWEP is more than a sports program. It is a social investment strategy that delivers benefits across key sectors: health, education, youth development agenda, national development. So for the health bit, it's going to reduce the non-communicable disease and also prevalence through active living. Education, student performance and engagement. Youth development agenda creates structural pathways for talent and employment. And then the national development agenda builds a healthier, more productive, and united Ghana. So some of the activities, some of the programs, and then its expected impact. Play Ghana, school sports and recreation program. We have spoken about the importance, how this is going to impact school sports. Now, regional recreation day. So there's going to be the creation of regional recreation day. Every district will organize weekly recreational activities, including aerobics, indigenous games, health screening, and wellness education. And this is something the Chief of Staff himself has been pushing on, the Honorable Julius Debra, that there's a day set aside, just as we have the National Sanitation Day, where the first Saturday of every month, people are expected to come out of their houses, clean their frontage, their shops, their workplaces, and all of that. Where something, the creation of something of this sort. So the National Recreation Day, a day set aside where churches, groups, work unions, and social groups can come out, exercise, engage in some physical activities to mark the day and also to keep a healthy lifestyle. Now, flagship program, the National Recreation and Wellness Program will be driven by flagship programs that bring the vision to life at the national, regional, and community levels. These programs are designed to be practical, inclusive, and impactful, reaching every Ghanaian regardless of age, background, or ability. Okay, and then the expected impact: builds awareness of the importance of active lifestyle, strengthens national unity through shared experience, creates platforms for sponsorship and partnership to showcase support. Okay, so that is it. And then the four is National Wellness Caravan. So that's mass community works, aerobics and fitness sessions, health screenings, development and promotion of indigenous games. It is very important. We're losing our culture, we're losing our identity. Today, the younger generation is only interested in the console games, TV games, and playing games on their phone. The Lude or Wari, the drought and all of that, we're pushing it to the background. But it is in the past, if you go to our communities, it was a way of socializing. It was a way of bringing the people together. I remember in the evenings, in the night, we'll go out. Sometimes you have people coming from their homes to your place. Sometimes you also go there, you are playing cards. You are playing, our mummies, as the guys are playing cards, our mummies will be playing Lude. They'll be playing Owari. The men are playing drought. Sometimes even in the community, you have central points where people will come and play drought. Central points where people will come and play cards, bringing us together. But we seem to be losing that. We seem to be losing our traditional games. And we must be worried. So it is good that we are going to inculcate in the younger generation our virtues as a country, our indigenous games. Very important. Now, expected benefits and outcomes. Health, there's the health outcome, educational, youth development outcomes, and all of that. We have mentioned that already. And then also community recreation parks. To ensure sustainable access to safe and inclusive recreational spaces, the ministry will support the development and revitalization of community recreation parks in both urban and rural areas. So, look, the Efua Sunderland Park, before, major recreation. I remember back in the day, Bishop Wally International Boarding School, where I attended, anytime there was a trip to Efua Sunderland Park, which was often referred to as Children's Park. Oh, those were some of the happiest days of our lives. But today, look at the state. So we expect that as part of the program, if we're going to be building community recreational centers, the Efua Sunderland Park should be big on that agenda. And the private sector should be interested in partnering the National Recreation and Wellness Program so that we can realize all of this. And then there are social and community outcomes. Economic benefit is going to create jobs for people. Imagine when there are programs and activities at Children's Park, the people who go there to sell water, the chichinga seller, those that are selling ice cream. So the recreational activities have a way of impacting our local economies. And so it's something that we must take very seriously. On this note, I mean, very fine plan, but if it happens that it is the case of the first year of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, then little of this plan can be achieved. If it is indeed because the recreation bit is the creation of the president, is a novelty. If it goes well, we'll forever remember him for it. If it doesn't, maybe we will not remember. Maybe we will mention it and then criticize that he attempted this, but it didn't work. So it is important that the presidency, will resource the institution entrusted to push this agenda, because we've seen the benefit from the WHO reports. The benefits are enormous. Corporate Ghana should be interested in partnering the board in delivering some of its programs. We'll end here because of time. I know certainly we'll come back again where we'll touch on the youth bit, the separation, and then we can answer the question whether it is a smart move or a misplaced priority. But I'm sure that at this point, what we have taken you through, you must have formed your opinions already. You can share those thoughts and opinions with us, 0533-292525, 0533-292525. This has been it for this edition of Editorial Michael Kofi Odum.